Hi, everybody. So you may have heard, because we're talking about it nonstop, that we have released a book called Find Work Worth Doing, the job seekers, career seekers handbook for finding meaning in your work. And, I'm going to share a story with you that I actually share in the foreword of the book. It's not a story that I share often, but many people who know me well know the story as to how I came to a crossroads with meaningful work. And that was working for someone else several years ago. I found myself in a position where my boss told me that I couldn't interview a woman because she wasn't attractive enough. Quote, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, Michelle, and I just don't see it in her. I was devastated, shocked, as every woman who is listening to this right now can picture herself probably in a similar situation. And the amazing part in that moment for me was that regardless of how passionate I was about the work I was doing at the time, and for the organization I was working for at the time, all of the meaning that mattered to me just seemed to slip away. It's like it all just like the floor just crumbled from underneath me. And in doing so, it caused me to really step back and ask myself what all of this meant. And I remember I went home that night and spoke with my husband, Jason, who, of course, is the author of this book, and said, this is what happened today. And I don't know what to do. I'm not the kind of person just to walk out on my job. I'm a woman of my word. I keep my commitments. And he said, he asked me one question, which was, how will you face the women that you work with and your peers, meaning on some of the charitable organization boards that I serve on? How will you face them knowing that you're making this compromise to your morals and to your values? How do you make this compromise to the meaning of your work and still hold your head up? I couldn't. So the next day I went in and we began to plan my exit strategy. I'm not the kind of person to just walk out and slam doors. And so we planned an exit strategy. And I left the organization that I loved very much and a group of people that I cared about very much, because I no longer could find meaning in the work if that was the kind of group that we were. And, out of that devastation, and it really was devastation, I had no idea what I was going to do. I had no intention of ever being a business owner. And here's the thing. Out of that came immense opportunity. It was 2012. There were people going back to work slowly, starting to interview after the last economic crisis that we faced. And people started coming to me saying, hey, while you're figuring out your life, will you help me with my resume? Will you get me through this job interview? I'll pay you. And so I said yes. And these checks started coming, and make no mistake, they weren't $1 million checks by any means, but I had this little stack of checks. And I knew enough not to put them in my personal bank account. I knew that, but other than that, I knew basically nothing about being a business owner. And so I called my friend Stephanie Veit. Stephanie, if you're listening to this, I still credit you every day for helping Merrifield become a reality. And I called my friend Stephanie and I said, I don't know what to do with these checks, and here's what's going on in my life. And she laughed and said, congratulations, you're becoming a business. Here's the application to file for your EIN number. And she emailed me the paperwork, and thus Merrifield was born. So out of what was a devastating experience, an experience that in the 21st century, as a woman, I never, ever dreamed that I would face. Out of that experience has come a company that's going into year 9, a company that has allowed us to help so many people, help us build the confidence, the career, that help be a part of the careers of so many great people that we have had the pleasure of knowing literally hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands now, if I go back and count. And we've been a part of so many great teams, whether we've led training for small businesses or we've helped you as an individual. And it all happened because of a crossroads sort of moment that scared the crap out of us. And I can't tell you how for how many weeks, I'm sure Jay probably counted them, how many weeks I sat up every night, like straight out of bed at 2:30 or 3 o'clock every morning, would sit straight up and gasp for air because I was having these night terrors about not being employed and not being able to have a job, and how were we going to pay the rent or the mortgage and all the things. It was just a moment after moment of pure panic. And I share this story with you as we launch this book to really be able to share with you, I know where you're at. If you're that person that is waking up at 2 a.m. gasping for breath because you are so scared, I get it. I do. And I know what that is. And I get teary about it because I remember the pain of it, you know? And so know that we know how it is, and we know where you're coming from, and we can relate to where you're at. And the thing I can promise you is that if you'll put one foot in front of the other and keep finding meaning, keep searching for what matters to you and what meets your values and your moral compass in your work. You don't have to do some grand thing every day. It's about finding meaning in the work, not finding meaning, it's about finding meaning in the work. And so, no matter what work we're doing, finding a way to make it impactful, finding a way to be proud of the work, to bring our best every single day. And I think Jay does a really great job in the book of walking you through some myths, some misconceptions, and some tips and questions to ask yourself to help find that. So by all means, check out the book. If you're a Kindle Unlimited user, it's completely free. But check out the book on Amazon. But, also just know that if you need us, we're here because we've been there and we know how tough this is. So take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.